have a core supplier base that I absolutely adore, and the thing with me is that we've got one of my artists is a bit last minute in her decision making, shall we say, or decisions get made last minute, and we add kind of shows last minute, or things come in, everything happens. And that supplier company, or my supplier companies on that, are so good in how they can adapt and how they can be flexible. So I think that personal approach, I know that I can call every single one of them up and be like, I need this, and they'll be like, okay, fine, give us 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that connection that you have and you build those relationships with suppliers.
Absolutely.
And now, like, I go out for dinner with them, and it's just so nice. With Christmas messages, it's building up that trust that we absolutely have. And I know now, like, I can say to them, hey, I need this, and I know that, like, obviously financially they're going to kind of, but I'm never going to be taken advantage of or anything like that. So I've got 2 main artists, and on both of those I've got different suppliers. So I know when I'm talking to this supplier, I'm talking about this artist, and when I'm talking to this supplier, I'm talking about this artist. And it's just so happened. And it's the same with, like, the travel agents, the lighting supplier, the sound. It's really, really nice. And I think that I would actually, I would like to continue that. I just think it's a really, really, it's beneficial.
Number one thing that I look for is turnaround time. Mm-hmm. And in that is effective communication and how fast I send an email and how fast I can get an answer. Mm-hmm. Who is on call, I know that suppliers don't work in 24 hours. However, our job is 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So it's really nice when there's a team, when there's a leader and then there's a team, so that there's always someone available to answer. Mm-hmm. I think that's crucial. And just nice people. Mm-hmm. I like working with sweet, kind people. Yeah. And it's so nice because these people eventually become your friends, ideally, And so I like to visit my suppliers, like beat the street. I love those guys. From the
I do.
I love them. They're so sweet, and in times when I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me because I just booked this, canceled this, added this. They're like, no, that's a part of the business, and it feels like family.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's. I was just talking to someone about this. I think it's relationships. It's personable, and it's accountability. I think it's important to feel the human connection with someone, and that you're not just part of a cog, and you're not just a customer they don't care about. You might be one of their smallest clients at that point, but you also in 5 years' time might be their biggest client. And what I've found is that, like, if you are treated in a certain way and you're not given that time of day, you will leave. Yeah. And then 5 years down the line, they'll reapproach you again. And the relationship, the way they're treating you will change because they see you as a bigger pot of money at that point. So I think, just like treat everyone the same and give every artist and every client the same level of care you would, I think.
Of course, we always look at the budget, but it has to have a quality, and I really need someone that he will offer me, I won't say 24-hour service, but at least he will be there when I need him.
It's always a balance, obviously, of like budget versus, the needs and the wants. And you obviously... I've never ever been on a tour where we are simply looking for the least expensive option. Like you have your sort of budget range, and you want to get the most bang for your buck, I guess, as much as you can within that budget, and as many sort of little luxuries or little extras. So much of pretty much everything we do actually is word of mouth. It's very rare that I have to, just Google something, like look for a company or look for a supplier, because someone always knows someone, and 100% of the time I will take someone's recommendation over Google,
For me, it's probably a mixture of quality of service and relationship. I think our industry is all about relationships that you have with people. And I think if I'm building a relationship with a supplier or I'm building a tour, I automatically think about the people who I enjoy working with, not only for their services that they offer and if they're good quality and reliable. I suppose price sometimes comes into it, budget constraints and things like that, but I think the top thing for me would definitely be, you know, having a good relationship with that person or that supplier. You know, want to pick up the phone and, you know, not feel weird about calling if I've got a problem or I need something sorting. So definitely, you know, people who are just good to work with, you know. Yeah.
It's relationships. It's all relationships. There's so many suppliers and so many of them do a great job. And I think a lot of people do a great job of the same job. So, you know, there might be things that separate things professionally here and there, but I mean, ultimately you're working with people. And I mean, certainly if you are in a pinch and need something, it's much nicer to call up someone you trust, and someone who you feel is looking out for you. And yeah, I mean, hopefully suppliers feel that we can return the favour sometimes.
Personal relationships. I think your network is your net worth. And when you have someone that you can call at 3 a.m. your time, when you're on the other side of the world, and someone is able to pick up the phone and actively make change happen for you, that's what it is. It's personal relationships.
Amazing. Someone who's really understanding of what we do. And that can be very difficult when you're not in the industry. I certainly didn't know the complexities of being on tour, the amount of people involved, the very weird, quirky necessity things. So I think just someone who's really understanding, you know, I have a background in working in travel, so I think I've used that knowledge of like how to communicate with people from a supplier perspective of like, I'm not just being needy or rude or like nasty or whatever, like I'm asking for this specifically because I have 30 people who are all tired, want to sleep, they're hungry, they want to shower. Yeah. It's all of those little things. Or like when it comes down to like your airlines and stuff like that, someone who can understand how quickly things can change. Sometimes it's not our fault that we miss a flight. You know, shows can go over curfew. We're waiting to pack down because of the act that's after us, which means we're delayed in things. Schedules change all the time. So I think just someone who, like, people that understand what we do. Yeah, which I think this is really great, having suppliers here who can ask those questions.
I personally really like the personability with suppliers, and I really like just having those go-to people that you can kind of pick up the phone and know that they're going to, like, I kind of am not the biggest fan of just calling a helpline and then having to talk to someone random, and I think just like having those personal relationships with suppliers is always great, and having someone who knows the business and knows what it's all about and knows musicians and knows just the nature of the industry and what it's like, I think is always helpful. Not just someone who comes from a completely different industry or, you know, a supplier that just deals with more corporate clients or whatever, and you're like, you don't get it because I think it's just such a you know, a niche industry, I guess, that a lot of people don't fully understand. So I think that's nice when they can understand and that you've created a relationship and that they know what it's like, and you can just pick up the phone and be like, I need this, and they can make it happen.
I'm a big one on personal relationships with people. That's also why tour management is like my probably the career I want to just have forever. And I think that like you can have loads of amazing people who are really incredible at their job and like offering amazing services, but not necessarily match your personality. And it's nothing wrong with this. Like, you know, people are different, and you friends with different people, and you agree with different people, disagree with different people. But for me, that's that. And there's something that one of the artists said to me when we were picking people to join our tour. And they were like, you can always be better at your job or become better at offering a service, but it can't change your personality. And that is something that I think is a big one for me, at least.
Yeah. I think relationships and having a person to speak to is actually really helpful in this industry. It's like, I know that I can wake up our freight agent that I've had for Glass Animals at any time, wherever I am in the morning, and he will answer the phone. And for that, I wouldn't want to change at all, because I know that, and obviously it turns up when it says it's going to, and someone's there to collect it, so nothing ever goes wrong, and I've got one person to speak to. Really, really helpful. So, as long as you're doing the job and you've got one person to speak to, that's I wouldn't change for that. When things start going wrong, obviously you have to switch it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, having someone, having your person is really, really helpful.
Amazing. That's really good.
Obviously, price is an important thing because we've all got budgets to work to.
Yeah.
But having said that, I would, over and above quality of service and is good. Now, you don't always know what you're going to get, but at the same time, word of mouth, talking to other people, it's like recommendations. It's like, yeah, we used this jet company and they were great. It's fantastic. And then you'll get someone else to go, it was awful.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking about trucks to somebody yesterday, and 3 different people had 3 different views on 3 different truck companies, and I'm going, well, I've used all of them and I think they were all good, and they're going, well, we used that one and that was terrible, and sometimes it just doesn't fit. There's a fit. Now, that's because generally in Europe, of course, we have a shortage of stock, basically, of buses and jets, and there's quite a lot of things, and hotel rooms at times. So you tend to not always get what you want unless you book it really early, and you can't always do that. So there tends to be a little, summer festivals in Europe is a real squeeze. It's like, I need 3 SUVs, or I need 3 Vianas or 3 Sprinters, and they have to be, uniform quality, because the band members all, how comes he's got a better one than me? It happens.
Yeah.
Why is his one white and mine one black? It's like, well, because they only had 2 white ones and 1 black one. It's like that does happen. But generally, I choose it on staff, and I choose it on, if it's ground transport, it's drivers. Obviously, if it's jets, it's pilots. But yeah, then there's the service side of it, the liaison, much like hotels, the liaison with the hotels I have, the direct contact I have them, because I'm really into the one-on-one thing, no middlemen. I don't want travel agents in the way, I don't want brokers in the way, I want to have that direct contact. And yeah, just generally spending time talking to people, and you start to get the feel. So suppliers, there are suppliers that play hardball, and it's just like, I go, do you know what, I don't really want to do this. It's like, well, I'll go somewhere else. It's like, or we're doing it for a reason, and we can have a battle with it, and we're, both of us are going to win somehow. We're going to get what we need. So it's like, I don't want to fight about stuff, but I don't want to be in the middle of a tour and get fucked by somebody who's going, we didn't have that and we had to change it out. It's like, I didn't ask you to change it out. It's like, I'm expecting a service like 100% all the way through. I get there are changes, but like, just pick the phone up and say, we got a problem, then we can work these problems out, and then it doesn't affect me and the band, because guess what, that, as I say, that trickle down effect again is, what the fuck is this? I'm going, well, unfortunately, and it's all about information flow, of passing that information on. It's like, next week we're going to have something different. It's like, why? Well, it's not really a question of why, it's just going to happen. It's like, I don't want it to happen. But yeah, suppliers, generally word of mouth, generally they're people I'll have used before. And then there's a rotation of staff within supply companies, and you then start to work with them and get the feel of the new people. And if you're not feeling it, you go somewhere else. You may have made a mistake. Not saying I'm right, because ordinarily, most often not, I'm wrong. So, and I'm man enough to admit that. But even if it is wrong, you try and get it right. And yeah, I think relationship with suppliers is. There's many suppliers here. Many people know me, and I know them. And yeah, nice people, good people. And good service.
I like to have like personable relationships. Like, I like dealing with people who are honest, have some morals. But listen to me, this says saying people should have morals. But like transparency. Like I'm a very people thing. I do obviously do a lot of emails, but a lot of things are done over the phone, and sort of flexibility as well is important. Obviously, the cost element of it is important, but I like to build long-term relationships with suppliers. I'm not just thinking about the here and now, thinking about the next sort of 5 to 10 years, regardless of who I'm working with.
Yeah, brilliant.
As I said yesterday, someone who has their phone number in their email signature is so helpful, because then you just have an immediate contact. I don't need to beat around the bush asking for it. And then when stuff sometimes goes wrong.
Yeah.
You have an immediate go-to, and I don't need to send an email that's going to land in someone's infinitely busy inbox.
For me, having done this for so long, it's all about personalities for me. I've got people that I've worked with many years, and you know, we know how each other works. I'm also open to working with new people, but I do like my established relationships. I'll tend to move with an individual if they go to another company, because we know how each other works. You've also got to keep, you can't just slip into always using the same people. You need to, you know, for due diligence, we need to check in on budgets and quotes every so often. But for me, it's personality, people that I trust. We know how each other works. We know what we're doing. They'll help me if I get into a situation where I need them. And yeah, obviously we want efficiency. I like people moving with the times with technology and things. But for me, mostly it's down to obviously price, but mainly relationships.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.